Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alana from Win-Win, and if you're not doing it, make sure that you are subscribing to both the TikTok and the YouTube channel, because obviously we're here to help you to get your dream FIFO job. Today, I've actually got a really special guest, and this is so applicable for the people who always ask, can I get a mining job from New Zealand? Most of the time, as you know, I'm just like, no, you can't, because for most companies, you will need to be where the point of hire is. And the point of hire for a lot of companies would be somewhere like Perth, Western Australia, or potentially even Brisbane. So it depends on where it is. Hey guys, thanks for joining the live. Like and share when my guest comes on. Anyway, so today the exception to the rule is my guest who's coming on to show you exactly how he is able to live in New Zealand yet work in Australia. So in a mining job. So oh, there we go. All right, guys, thanks so much for your patience. And joining me now is Rob Savage. Rob, thanks for joining the podcast.
Hello, how's everyone?
Great. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. I just finished work about an hour ago.
Oh, are you okay? Doing the night shift, hey?
Yeah, I'm on a 24-hour break now, so I'm pretty much fine for the rest of the day.
I'm very glad to hear that. I wouldn't want you to be fatigued. But yeah, guys, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to get Rob to tell you about his job, and then afterwards drop any questions in. We will do them at the end of the live, so not at the end of the interview. So Rob, talk to me. So what is your job? And tell me, you're flying in from, you live in New Zealand, but you're working in the mines in Australia. Is that right?
Yes, so my job, I drive road trains from our yard to a mine site, and then we deliver that product, which is iron ore, to the port for export. We do one run a day. It's pretty much between 12 to 14 hours a day. Wow. You know, so it's pretty. I wouldn't say it's physically tiring, but it is mentally due to driving for so long with that many hours, and then you've got to be careful of the traffic and everything else as well. Yeah. Fatigue is a very big thing in our mine sites, or in our industry anyway. So we've got to make sure that we're fit and healthy for work for the day, and make sure that we've had enough sleep during and a lot of fluids as well.
Yeah.
You know, so
definitely.
Yes.
And so, how many kilometers are you doing per day?
A return trip is around 800 kilometers. So
Wow.
there and back. Yeah.
Yep, and tell me, that's a long time to be by yourself. Obviously, you're listening to the radio, but how do you keep yourself motivated when you're sitting there by yourself all day long driving around?
Honestly, if it's not music, I'm just listening to audiobooks, because audiobooks is another thing that you can keep your mind motivated. You can also learn on the run while you're going as well.
Yeah.
And I'm more listening to podcasts as well. That way I can get more info in regards to high frequency thinking, and just trying to stay motivated, thinking about my goals and staying focused.
Oh, that's awesome. I did the same. I had my schedule of podcasts and listening to the news, then listening to this book on tape. So yeah, you've got to keep your brain going when you're doing jobs where I love jobs like that, because you've got such an awesome opportunity to be hitting two birds with one stone. So what sort of podcast you listening to? Hi, Johnny.
I like listening to manifesting podcast. Also, I like listening to motivational podcasts. Eric Thomas is one that I favor quite a bit. He's quite a bit of a beast when it comes to motivational speeches and stuff, and he's straight to the point. He also speaks about his journey and the milestones that he has to go through while he's doing his podcast. So he's quite self-explanatory in the way he speaks. But he push comes to shove, he's just in there. He doesn't beat around the bush about anything. He's just straight to the point.
Yeah, that's what we want. Hey guys, thanks for watching the live. Feel free to share it if you're getting some value out of it. I've got Rob here, who's my guest, and we're talking about how he is actually doing FIFO from New Zealand. He's a road train operator. Rob, tell me, how did you get your first job, from New Zealand, flying over here?
To be honest, I had a friend in the industry, and he I rang them up and asked if there was any jobs, and they said they're always looking for workers. So pretty much, I got a number from him,
Yeah.
which it's pretty easy to do if you look on the internet, Seek and all that stuff. You can get all that information as well. But I rang the number, spoke to the manager at the time, and he laid down everything I needed to know in regards to having an MC license, contracts, medicals, what they expect out of us, and training and stuff. So the first most important thing was making sure that I'm able to get an MC license, which is switching it from a Class 5 New Zealand license to MC license. Because I originally lived in Brisbane a couple of years ago, I had originally got my MC license in Brisbane. I said it, yeah. Yeah, so for me, I could just swap it over, but I had gone past the 5-year mark, so I had to basically go through the hoops again to transfer everything from New Zealand to Australia.
Yep, so all the lessons and everything.
Yeah, I didn't have to go through the lessons. In Brisbane, every state is different. So in Brisbane, what you can do is you present your Class 5 license, which is an equal to a HC license.
Yeah.
And to prove that you can drive a B double, which is a B train in New Zealand, you have to have documentation to prove that you can do that, which is you need a letter from from the company that you work for, a declaration form with their letterhead, and a declaration form signed from them, and then you need logbook entries and the registrations of the vehicles. So there's 4 documents that you have to fill out to send it to them for them to approve it. So that it's a bit time consuming, but at the end of the day, once you've got all those documents and all the ducks in a row, it moves through pretty quickly.
Yeah. And did you have any experience operating road trains when you were in, living in New Zealand? You are now, but before you actually got this job?
No. I had no road train experience. I did know how to drive a B double, so that's 2 trailers plus the prime mover. But anything after that, this is the first experience for me being on a road train.
Wow, there you go, hey, awesome. And so when you first got the job, what was the whole process? So obviously you'd have to do the interview, the medicals, all that sort of stuff. What was the process for you?
So after I'd done the interview, the medical, I flew over here. So in order to get myself over here, I had to pay for the first tickets to come over.
Yeah.
And then get introduced, do all the inductions when I get here. Then they put me into training. So my first day out, I'll go out and training. I'll sit in the passenger seat. Now, I was told from the very start, from the first phone call, that I'm expected to learn how to. I'm expected to know how to drive a Road Ranger.
Yeah.
And all they're going to teach me is what rev range to be driving the truck in, because you're carrying so much more weight. And
just quickly, for anyone who doesn't know what a Road Ranger is, can you just quickly explain it for them?
So a Road Ranger is the type of gearbox that we use in the truck. It's an 18-speed. With the Road Ranger, there's another name for it, crash box. Pretty much you have to match the speed of the gearbox to match the speed of the truck in order for it to release into the gate through changing gears. If it doesn't, if you don't match the speed, if you don't match the speed to the gearbox, then it won't let you get into gear.
Yeah. And how difficult or complicated did you find to actually get that license? A lot of people ask us that, and I did it years ago. I was like, it's not that hard. For me,
and when I first originally went for it, I actually went through an actual course. I was doing 1 hour a weekend, just like full on practical training and driving that. So it took me about 7 weeks to actually get comfortable and confident to be able to drive that solo to do the license. So the practical was a bit difficult for me to start off with, but as for the written, the theory, that was fine.
Yeah, perfect. And tell me, so let's go into so you got your first job, fantastic. That was pretty easy because you had a mate. So obviously if you have a mate, you go straight into jobs. We've got a question here. I don't know whether you can answer it or not. Who are you working for?
I work for Jamison's Transport.
There we go. Great. Okay, so and tell us, right? So you got your first job, you had to come over here and do everything that you had to do, and now you're doing fly in, fly out from New Zealand. Let's talk about the roster that you're doing and how you actually manage that, because it's a pretty long one.
Yeah, so we do. There's three rosters. When you're flying from New Zealand to Australia, it's 8 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yep.
When you're flying from any other state in Australia, it's 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And if you're local in Port Hedland, it's 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Wow.
So for me personally, because I try to stay as focused as I can be on my goals,
Yep.
in order for me to stay in tune with how many times or how long I am away from home, so for me personally, there's a purpose and there's a goal as to why I'm here in the first place, so it's staying focused on their goal and their purpose. I'm not here to muck around. I'm not here to play games or anything. I'm here to get what I need to be done. Yeah, do the mahi, do the job, get it done, and then start focusing on what I need to do to put myself into alignment for my goals.
Awesome. And tell me, right, that is a long roster. How do you find being away from your family and friends for that long? And what's your secret to success of, like having a healthy life, I guess, in general, and, relationships when you are away for so long?
In regards to friendships and family, I'm always talking to them every day. I'm always in contact with them every day, whether it's messenger, video call, or phone calls.
Yep.
But most of the time, when I'm here at home, and we have shared homes, so we get provided bedding and stuff, but I went out and brought my own bed, bought me a TV, bought me things that will help me get through the days when I just didn't want to talk to anybody. So it's all about keeping yourself entertained throughout the time and watching movies, listening to music, playing games. It's all these sort of things. Go out for a drive, go to the beach, go to the gym. It's all these type of things. You got to keep yourself mentally in check. Otherwise it gets very difficult very fast. Especially being away from your family. I can't speak on it personally, but in relationships, because I'm single, it's a blessing for me for being single in this position at the moment, because I don't have to focus on that sort of thing. But there are plenty of guys in my company and women that are in relationships. They have kids and they make it work. And the thing I hear from them is that communication is key. Communication is key. Yeah, and they also, it's about creating a plan and making sure everybody as a unit, as a family, is on the same wavelength, because you've got to have commitment and trust there from each side.
Yeah, oh, definitely, especially if you're doing a longer roster like that. It's even FIFO in general is just such a relationship killer. So long rosters like that, it could be difficult. But what's your best advice? We get a lot of people always saying, how can I do FIFO from somewhere like New Zealand or anywhere else? And that's a really good question from Ian there. Do you pay for your flights from New Zealand as well?
No, they pay for our flights from Port Hedland to any capital city in New Zealand, any capital city in Australia, and any capital city in Southeast Asia.
Yep.
Anywhere else, so if we're flying, let's say I'm in Alana and Auckland, if I need to go to Gisborne or Rotorua or Taupo, then I have to pay for my flights from there.
Yeah.
So they just pay for the capital cities.
Oh, perfect. Hopefully that answered that one, Ian. I know a lot of companies just are like, no, the point of hire is, let's say Perth or Brisbane, you need to be here before we even consider hiring you. So yeah, that must be a really fantastic company. You'll definitely have to hook me up. So, all right. And I can't even remember what the first part of that question was, but yeah, who would you say this job would be perfect for?
Anybody who has the hunger to elevate themselves to smash out their goals. Anyone who wants to achieve big things in a short amount of time. This job is not for everyone, especially with the length of time we have on the swings. So there are people that haven't lasted long because of the length of the swing.
Yeah.
But the way I see it, you've got to take a chance, have a go at it, finish your first swing. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, carry on going with it.
Yeah.
That's what I can say about that.
Yeah. And tell me, do you have many women on or in the company that you're working for?
Uh, there's about four. There's about four women at the moment working in our company, and they actually handle themselves pretty well. They handle
Yeah.
themselves really well, actually, to be honest.
Yeah. What's your best advice for a woman who wants to go into the mining industry?
Uh, Man, there's plenty of women that I've seen on TikTok here that have actually smashed it. That they're focused, they're goal focused, they know what they want to do. Their main thing is thinking about their family and their kids, and where they can elevate their family and their kids to a better position for the best life. So if you want to go, any woman who wants to get into this industry, go for it. Don't hold back, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're only limiting yourself. So go for it 100%.
Definitely. And I'm sure you'd agree there's no such thing as a male job or a female job. I've seen women as drillers, offsiders, and drillers and absolutely everything. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not up with this male female role thing. My mother, she's started a taxi business in Gisborne, New Zealand, and she started that just by herself, and now it's elevated. It's really elevated, and there's sort of an expansion going on there. So it's gone from one person being in that taxi company to 465-star ratings in that taxi company. So when men turn around and sort of make that judgment, I just look at what my mother's done and the achievements that she's made in her life, because through adversity she has pulled through, and she's just smashed it and proved everyone wrong.
Amazing. And what's your mum's business called?
Eco Cabs, Gisborne.
Yeah. There we go. Shout out to Eco Cabs. And if you're in Gizzy, go and hook them up, or go and get a cab ride. Okay, so I've got Ian's just written here as a question, Rob. What comes first, getting the MC license or applying for the job?
Get your MC license first. Get your MC license. Also, ring the job, find out what their requirements are, and that way they also know that your intentions are to start working for them. But yes, definitely get your MC license. You have more of a chance getting a job with the MC license, followed by the experience as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Owen's just asked, women safe in the mining industry? As a woman who worked in it for 17 years, I can say there was never one time when I didn't feel unsafe. The way that you handle yourself is the way that people treat you. So whatever job that you're doing it's going to be the same. Like, there's all other industries where, is it safe for women? Yes, of course it is. And the safety is getting better and better on most mine sites, despite what you see, the horror stories on A Current Affair and all those different programs. So yeah. All right, Rob, tell us what are you staying in a camp, and what's camp life like for you, if you are?
No, our company actually has shared homes. We do have a camp at the yard, but it's not a camp like how you'd have the actual mine sites where they've got cooks and everything. It's pretty much they've got a donga, and then they've got communal bathroom and communal dining hall and kitchen. So we get a meal allowance, and then that allows us to buy our food, and we just cook it ourselves. So at the moment, I'm staying in the house. It's like a 5-6 bedroom house, and there's 4 of us staying here. So it's not overcrowded. It's a big enough house, and we make it work here. We've got our own fridges. All the houses are decked out with furniture, cutlery, everything you need. You don't need to buy anything for the house.
Right. And is that in Port Hedland?
Yes, I'm in South Hedland.
South Headland. And how'd you find the cyclone that just came through? I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. It
Bit of
wasn't
wind,
that
that's all.
freaky for me. I was more worried about wanting to go back to work, to be honest.
Yeah, it can get boring if you're on stand down. Hey, you're just waiting. You're like, I'm here to work. Why am I like in my house doing nothing?
Yeah. Well, I was down for like 6 days, so I got bored. I was over
Yeah.
watching movies, and we weren't allowed to go outside the house. So yeah, there was really
Oh,
nothing to do.
yeah. All right. And we've got, I'll just go through a couple of these questions as we're going. Woodsies asked, what is the demand for shot critters like at the moment? Depends on where you're located, but generally there's a ton of projects that have started and projects that are expanding. So I'd say it's probably average. Like there's definitely jobs available. Just jump on seek.com.au. Ethan's asked, how do you get a job in FIFO offshore? You've got to set yourself up, like have the right licenses and qualifications. You might need a BOSIED or an STC W95. So it just really depends, Ethan. Also, what previous experience do you have that's relevant? Do you have a resume that's applicant tracking system compliant? Where are you located? So that's what I'd say. Owen's just quickly out. Sorry, Rob. Owen's
You're
just
right.
asked, are there roles for couples? Absolutely there are. You need help. By the way, if you need help with that, guys, get in contact with our team, info@winwin.com.au. We can help to get you in. That's exactly what we do through our consultation division. Ian's asked, this one for you, you can do here. Oh, Woodsy's in New South Wales. Yeah, Woodsy, you might have to move just depending. Okay, so we'll just ask, how do you transfer oh, that's a good question. How do you transfer the MC if you aren't living in Oz? Rob, you've done it. How do we do it?
You have to physically be in Australia to transfer your MC license over. So if you have family or friends that are living here that you can use an address, then put
Cool.
that down as an address, and that'll pretty much give you proof of address. But you still have to have 100-point check of ID, which is you need your passport, birth certificate, or driver license, and then you do need a bank card that's Australian, and you also need a phone bill or something like that, just to state your address. That's pretty much the ins and out of the ID for that part. But you have to physically be in Australia to receive and apply for the MC license.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for answering that. And this is another good question. How does tax work back to New Zealand? So are you taxed in Australia or New Zealand? How does that work?
Tax IRD is separate to ATO, which is Australian Tax Office. So anything to do with Australia in regards to tax has nothing to do with New Zealand.
Yeah, so all your tax, you're paying it in Australia, same as you just get to take I'm sure, depending on the exchange rate at the time, you go back and you're basically totally cashed up, I can imagine. Is that right, Rob?
Yes, there's different, because you have a bank account over here in Australia. Everything gets transferred into that account. What you do with it after that, that's totally on you. So I have a site that I use. It's called OFX, and that's how I transfer my money back to New Zealand. If you were to transfer bank to bank, I think it's like $30 each way, which turns out to be like, on top of the exchange rate, it turns out to be something like $60 for both ways on each end, which as of OFX, they only charge me on this side, which is like $15 to transfer money over to New Zealand from here.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So what would you say that's the best way to go, or you just get cash out, then I guess you're paying the fees when you do that, when you are coming back home, or you just, yeah, what's the best way?
Honestly, transferring it through OFX is the best way to do it. It's fast. It only takes like a day and a half to do.
Yeah.
If you're going cashed up, you have to declare over $10,000. Anything over $10,000, you have to declare it with. I think I can't remember. But when you go to the airport, you have to declare all the money that you have if it's over $10,000. So your best is to do internet transfer into a New Zealand account, and that way you've still got money flowing both sides. Because I'm staying in New Zealand and working here, I've left my bank account open for that purpose, so that when I go back to New Zealand, I'm cashed up when I've got a holiday. I don't have to worry about fees with my bank account over here in Australia when I'm using it over in New Zealand.
Yeah, perfect. And did you say that you're doing a 6 week swing?
The 6 week swing is any capital or anywhere, all states in Australia.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing a longer swing. And was it eight?
Yeah,
8 weeks at a
8 weeks.
time?
Yeah.
God, how do you... the longest I've ever done was 6 weeks. So my hat goes off to you. At the end of your swing, when you're like, oh, like how do you handle the last couple of weeks? You must be so fatigued out of your brain. Or what sort of fatigue management and safety procedures does your company put into place for that?
They're very high up on the fatigue management. We have cameras on that sit up above the dashboard in front of us, and if our eyes close or our head shows that we're sleeping,
Yeah.
that gets set off. So as soon as that gets set off, we get sent a message to give the office a call straight away, park up somewhere and give them a call, and it's more of a welfare check. If we get called, if we set it off 3 times, then they tell us to pull over. We have to park the truck up, and we jump on another truck and catch a ride back to town.
Yeah.
So, in regards to fatigue management, when it comes down to the last couple of weeks, I'm being honest. You have to have your head in the game from the time you turn the key on to the time you turn it off.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not fit for work, you might as well just stay home because you're putting yourself and other people in danger.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. And how do you find, like, so at the end of your swing where you're just about to fly back home, are you just like, that's it, I'm just done, like, sleep the whole flight home?
Yeah, it's out of it because you got to fly from Port Hedland to Perth, and then I think you're there for maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, because you have to have a layover depending on what time the flights are. Then you go to Sydney or Melbourne, and then from there to
Oh,
Auckland. So there's transfer flights. So it could take up to 18 hours to leave when you leave Port Hedland all the way back to your destination in New Zealand, just depending on your layovers. So I try to sleep as much as I can when I'm on the flight. So my plan is the day before I fly out, I have a day off. I set my room up, sort it all out, do my washing. So when I come back here, everything's done. I can just relax. So I try to stay up for 24 hours. So when it comes to my traveling time, majority of it I'm sleeping.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how do you find, right? So you're there with the same crew in this house day in, day out for like weeks at a time. How do you find dealing with the same people, the same conversations and all that sort of stuff?
Well, to be honest, we hardly ever see each other because how our shifts work is we're rolling a shift. So whatever time the truck comes in is when we start. There's no set times or no set routine. So I could be out and another guy could be asleep in his room while I'm out, and then I'll come home and he's walking out the door as I'm walking back in. So we only see each other for maybe 5 minutes at a time out of 7 days a week.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
good then.
Yeah. So there's a bit of privacy, but we still got to be mindful that they could be asleep. So we just try to keep quiet around the house and just, I sort of just stick to my room because I'm not annoying anybody or being too noisy or anything.
Yeah. And I suppose you might get to the end of your shift, you're so fatigued, you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone, see anyone. I just want to chill out and go to sleep and get ready for the next day.
That's pretty much what I do. I'll have a shower, have dinner, and go to sleep.
Yeah. Especially at the
Yeah.
end of the swing, I could imagine. Josh has just asked, can I get a job without a car license but have most other tickets? Look, it really depends. If you've got a ton of experience, let's say on excavators, dozers, loaders, maybe, but a lot of companies will still be requesting that you have the driver's license. So, and obviously if you talk about jobs with, like in Rob's field, you need the license without a doubt. All right, sorry guys, I'm just going to go through some of these questions. And Rob, what's the hardest part about your job besides doing 8 weeks at a time?
Uh, Changing tires, to be
Okay.
honest. So
Yeah.
because we have tire fitters, but because we're doing such a long distance in driving. There's times where tires blow out, so we have to change our own tires. That's the only difficult part for me. It's just changing tires, but at the same time, it's easy. It's just working in the heat doing it.
Yeah. And give us some of the worst. Everyone's always saying to me, "Oh, you're glamorizing the mining industry." Tell us some more of the bad parts, like the heat, the flies, the challenges that you've had to overcome when you are working FIFO.
Flies, flies are a headache. I hate them.
Yep.
But to counteract that, it's easy enough to go buy a mozzie net, and wear a mozzie net, So with everything that's annoying, there's always a solution behind it to fix that situation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like for me personally, I don't let anything. I try not to let things annoy me or irritate me because at the end of the day, that's stopping me from achieving my goal. So everything is a solution.
Yeah, definitely. And so this job here, so I'm just sorry guys, I'm trying to go through these all these questions. There is a lot. Truck driver, can I get a job? Okay, I'm a truck driver. Can I get a job in Aussie? I have a current passport license, etc. Okay, do you have a visa, and what sort of job as a truck driver are you after? Because a lot of people just say, can I get a truck driver? But as Rob is a road train operator, that is extremely different from like a dump truck operator or a water cart or even a Moxie or anything. So it depends on what trucks that you've been driving and if you've got the visa for that one there. Jay's just asked, does he live in New Zealand and work FIFO? Yes, he does, Jay. So Rob is a road train operator who does FIFO from New Zealand to Port Hedland, working 8 weeks at a time. That's nuts. Thanks, Jay. Much appreciated. Okay, what would your advice? We've got Jay Lee here who's just asked, I'm trying to get on dump trucks for ages. I've got my standard 11, but no luck. What would you say to somebody who is trying to achieve that goal, Rob?
In regards to dump trucks, I don't know because I've never driven or applied for that sort of job. But man, if you can put out as much CVs as you can as possible, and ask Lana as much as you can in regards to what you need to do for the CV, for those sorts of tips, because I've seen her content, it is amazing. So just pretty much get yourself known as much as possible. Don't give up. Just keep being persistent. Because don't forget, you got 15,000 people applying for one job. So you got to be persistent and show them that you want it. Show them, be hungry about it, So don't give up and just keep pushing forward. Something will definitely come up. If it doesn't come up straight away, my advice is just to pick up something to tide you over until you can get achieve the goal of going to get the dump truck job. Because at the end of the day, all you need to do is get your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door and you start working hard and performing well, you will get noticed. You will get noticed 100%.
Agreed. And Jay Lee, come and have a chat with our team because I'll tell you, this is what I'm always saying to people. Everyone says, how do I get a job as a dump truck operator? And I'm like, have you considered an MPU like traineeship or like this avenue or that avenue? There are so many different jobs other than dump trucks that might be more relevant to you. In the YouTube channel, I do interviews with people just like Rob, actually. This will go into the Win-Win YouTube channel. If you're not following that, there's a link in my bio. Definitely go and follow that. And if you haven't already done it, guys, make sure that you're following myself and Rob. We drop a ton of content to help you guys achieve your mining goals. But yeah, there's so many different jobs in the mining industry, just like what Rob's doing. And, I did everything from admin, utility, civil operator. So there are so many jobs that it might be more applicable for your personality. And so you're not competing with 15,000 people for that one dump truck operator role. So yeah, definitely get in contact with us if you need help, like creating a personalized plan for that. All righto. So yeah, 8 weeks I've done it. Wouldn't want to do it again. I agree. Me either. Rob,
look,
let's talk.
Hey, this 8 weeks on, it's not something that I'm going to live for the rest of my life. All it is just a stepping stone to get me to achieve my goals.
Yeah, spot
and that's
on.
Just a small sacrifice,
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the longest swing I ever did was 6 weeks, but I went from doing 6 years doing 4 and 1, which is pretty harsh, to then going, okay, cool, I've achieved my goals. Now I'm going to be doing 2 and 2. So yeah, it's all a case about positioning yourself, keeping your eye on the prize and managing your money. A lot of people just don't do that. I'm sure you've seen it, Rob, right? Like a lot of people, they're out there earning all these big like FIFO dollars, then they're just blowing it. It comes to payday or just before and they're like, help, like, can I borrow some money? Have you ever seen that before?
Oh, heaps of times. I've seen it heaps of times. When you're in this sort of job, you've got to get used to the fact there's going to be large amounts of money coming to your bank account, and you've got to start being more disciplined with your money and having self control, because if you all it's going to do is it's going to push your goal away further from what you want to achieve. So be more mindful of your goals and what you want to achieve, rather than just going out and splashing it and going to get you a $150,000 car when you don't need it.
Yeah. Thank you, Benita. Yeah, 100%. Do you have a specific savings plan that you work off? Like, say, I'm going to budget, I'm going to like save this much money into this bank account, or this is what my goal is. This is my play money. How do you do that? Because yeah, I think of you advantageous.
It's I have a goal. So I started a company in New Zealand, a car rental company.
Yeah.
So how I'm building that up as I go. So every bit of money that I get from my pay, I pretty much leave me 500 over here. The rest goes back to New Zealand into savings to try build that up quicker. It all depends on what I have planned. I always come home from my holiday and I'll write down my goals in the book, and I'll set aside a lot of money for that to achieve it as quick as possible.
Yeah, well done. And like I always say to people, FIFO should be it's like I did it. It was my opportunity to save as much money as I could to set myself up so I could start my dream business that I wanted to do. And obviously you're doing the same. So it's good that other people actually have their eye on the prize and can manage their money properly.
Yeah.
Well done with that. Okay, so William, we can't answer visa questions. I do lives, lives with my migration expert. If you need to have a chat with him, you can go up into my Stand store and book in a chat with him, because he can tell you visas, sponsorships, everything. I cannot even tell you that. Okay, so we've got another question here. Do mines hire tilers? Simple answer, yes. So it just depends on the project. You might be more likely to get into a trade assistant role. So not necessarily a tiler straight out, but trade assistant, potentially even depends on what your goals are. If you want to earn the big money and you're in a physical job right now, the best job to go for is a driller's offsider without a doubt. So yeah, too easy. Right, Rob, tell us more about what are your goals after this, and where do you see your career going after you have, done whatever you've done, achieved whatever you got, or are you just, that's it, I'm going straight back, sorting my business out, and see you later, mining industry, just in case I need to get cashed up again? Like, what are your plans?
If I'm being honest, I plan for this to be my last job ever. My business that I'm building at the moment, it coincides with my parents' taxi business. So we're working to build those two companies together to thrive. So I'm looking at retirement in 5 years, 4 years. I come here with a 4-year or a 5-year plan to retire. So I'm 40 now. By the time I'm 45, I want to be semi-retired, running my own company.
Yeah, that's the go. That was my goal too, and then I decided stupidly a couple of months ago I'll start a second business.
Well, it's more financial freedom, mate. Freedom and freedom in time. I don't have any kids, but if I do have children, I want to be able to wake up every morning and spend time with my child and not have to worry about going to work or have to dealing with babysitters or whatever. I want to be able to take my child to school or whatever, and then celebrate the birthday, celebrate the accolades that they're going to achieve in the future. These are the sort of things that I'm looking at. Don't chase the money. If you're chasing the money, you're never going to be satisfied. Chase the dream. You have to chase the dream.
Yeah. The money is just literally what gets you to the dream. That's what I found. I was lucky. I was I did a lot of research into finances and set myself up, and I was motivated by not being poor. That was my number one thing. I was like, no, I want to be rich, so I don't have to. So like for me, money is options, just like for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I see money as a tool, All it is a tool and to create options.
Yeah, definitely. The life that you want, just like what you said, the freedom to be able to do what you want to do with who you want to do, with who you want to do it, whenever you want. So Fidelis has asked, are there many dogman jobs out there? I currently have my white card dogman and basic riggers. Yes, 100%. Hello, Patricia. How you going? Guys, if you haven't already done it, I've got Rob here. He's a road train operator. He does fly in, fly out from New Zealand on some pretty long swings. If you want to know about his job, we have gone over a lot right now, but yeah, feel free to drop it into the comment section below. Okay, for anyone who's been applying for ages and ages and it's so hard, literally, I would say get in contact with us. Just like if you're going to go bake a cake, there is a formula, aka recipe. It works every single time. You've got to do this before you can do that. You've got to know what job it is that you want based upon your previous experience. You've got to potentially go after jobs where you're not competing with half of Australia, like a dump truck operator role. And yeah, if you've got that experience there, for Fidelis, I hope I haven't messed up your name. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's actually easy to get in. Okay, Nato29 has asked, what's the highest paid job in the mining industry? Well, how high do you want to go? Are we talking white collar as in mine manager, or are we talking about like entry level jobs, which would be potentially drillers offsider, or are you talking about like jobs like a jumbo operator could be on over 200K a year? So it really just depends. And you've got your, again, white collar supervisory roles. So chuck in as much information into these questions as you can. Okay, so we've got Edward Scissorhands. Tyler from Brisbane, any jobs going in the mines with my trade? Yes, 100%. And you're in Brisbane, Edward, so you're in the second best place in Australia. Perth is number one. If you look on seek.com.au, you'll see that the majority of the jobs are actually in Perth. So yeah, that's where I always say if you want to up your chances of actually getting a job, come over to somewhere like Perth or Brisbane. You're in Brisbane, so you're good to go. What about process operator roles? Rob, do you know much about process operator roles?
Oh, yeah, no, I know nothing about those.
Okay. All right. Zulu9, yes, there are a ton of process operator roles, Australia-wide, predominantly again in Perth, Western Australia, to the mines flying out in WA, or Brisbane to the mines flying out in Queensland. If you guys need a hand with getting a job, feel free to get in contact with us, info@winwin.com.au. The email address is everywhere. And if you haven't already done it, subscribe to both mine and Rob's channels for content to help get you employed. All right, so let's see what we've got here. I have a loader, operator, and excavator. I have loader operator and excavator operator, both licensed. I have it. Excellent. That's good. There are a ton of different civil or production loader excavator operator roles, so it just depends on where you're located. And 100%. Hey Albert, how you going? I don't know whether that's for you, Rob. Okay, so where are you from, Rob? What's your tribe?
I'm Ngāti Pro. I'm from Gisborne, New Zealand. I'm also from Taranaki, but I was born and bred in Wellington.
Oh, there you go. Or Albert, I'm Ngāti Rangiwewehi from Oahu in Rotorua. There you go. Where are you from, Albert? Okay. Anyway, we'll continue going on some of these questions. Tell us, what else, Rob? What are your mentally, again, let's go back to that one. So you're driving for up to 12 hours a day, right? I know when I used to do that, it was super boring. And yeah, you can listen to audio, books on tape, all that sort of stuff. So let's go back to again, how do you do 8 weeks, 12-hour days? Surely you must run out of podcasts or books to read, or how does that work?
It's funny because there's a group of us that come over from Gisborne to here to work in the same company. So whenever we see each other on the road, we're always communicating through the RT. We'll just jump on our own separate channel and we'll communicate. But I'm just so focused and so goal driven that I'm comfortable with the silence. For me personally, I'm actually comfortable with the silence. I'm in a stage where I'm able to be able to just sit there. My imagination can just go wild. I can just think about things, and it all leads to one thing. It's just going back to my goals. That's all it does. It's whether I'm trying to think about multiple incomes. It's whether I'm trying to think about how am I going to set up for this job? What can I do to start a business here? It's all these sorts of things. Reading Robert or listening to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and also cash flow quadrants is what's kept my mind thinking continuously about what I can do business sense wise, because there's always opportunities. There's like hundreds of opportunities, and a lot of them people, including me, always have our eyes and ears closed. We don't really see them; they're right under our nose. But until you decide to open up your eyes and ears and just listen out and see for them, they turn up, and the opportunities are there. So I'm always trying to think 2 steps ahead, but also staying in the present, because I can't control what's going to happen in the future, but I can control what's going to happen now. So that's what I try to do, is just try to control what's happening now.
That's it. And I'm sure that you've read Think and Grow Rich. So whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Yeah, I'm currently in the stage of my life now where I've been through the phase of believing, I've been through the phase of thinking and visualizing and knowing. Now I'm at the stage where I just want to do it. So it's all about just doing it, getting in and doing it. You've got to have that visualization. You've got to have that inner belief and that inner knowing that it can be done. And once all that's done, you just got to get out there and do it. Don't hesitate. Make a decision and do it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't make a decision, you stay in limbo, and you don't start focusing on just the one thing. You've got one thing here, one thing here, one thing here. There's 4 different items that you're trying to think about, but you're not making a start because you haven't focused on the one thing.
Yeah, you've got to take massive action. And I don't know whether you know, through my just second business that I've just started, which is literally a coaching business, it's like saying start before you're ready. Like even my second business, I don't even have the website up yet. I've started the TikTok channel. I've started all of this stuff because I'm like, that's it. I'm manifesting this, and I'm going to take massive action to like make it manifest right before my eyes, which is exactly what's happening. So yeah, hard out. Sorry guys, we're just going off on a tangent. Yeah,
manifesting is a must, especially in this job.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question from J-Mac then. And this is only whether you can answer it, whether you feel comfortable answering it. How much? Tell us about the money, Rob.
I can't get into too much detail with that in regards to the company with the policy, but it is good money. I'm gross wage. I'm making over 150 a year. Gross wage. I'm making over 150 a year. That's just a rough estimate for you. And I'm happy with it. I'm grateful for what I'm earning, because at the end of the day, if I was in New Zealand, I'll be lucky to get 70 a year. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty much making double than what I was back in New Zealand.
Definitely. For everyone who's in this chat today, firstly, thank you for watching. Make sure that you're following both of us. I would love you to double tap the screen to get it out as far as possible. But I want to know, where are you guys from? Can you drop it in the chat so we can, make it a little bit more relevant to what you're after? What's your roster, Rob? We've had this question again, but do you want to answer it?
My roster's 8 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I actually usually do longer than that. At this stage, this stint here, I'm doing 17 weeks. So, but you don't have to do that long. Eight weeks is the length, because that sort of helps pay for our flights. So that's where that comes from. But I'm so goal focused that I'd rather stay here for longer, because it's worth it. I see it's worth it for me. It's a beneficial thing for me.
Yeah. And when you're up there as well, like a lot of people go, oh yeah, like they might even say, yeah, but you're working like, however long per year. But if you look at it from the positive side, when you're up there, you're probably paying for hardly anything. Am I right?
Oh, no, nothing. Like our company provides per truck. Our company provides a car per truck, so that gives us transport around South Hedland and Port Hedland. That they pay for the fuel, so that gives us transport all over South Hedland and Port Hedland without having to worry about fuel. We don't have to pay for rent or board. We don't have to pay for flights. So all the major things that you deal with, and this is including utilities in the house, those are all paid for as well. So
Yeah.
everything that's in regards to the company with the house, the cars, is all paid for. So what you would normally pay for at a house usually, which is your rent, which is what, maybe 700-800 a week, and then you've got food, then power, then all the other stuff, then you've got gas and car. You're looking a massive. That's probably half your wage gone in
Yeah.
that week. So there's a big advantage to this.
Definitely. And the cost of living in New Zealand is actually even worse than Australia. Wouldn't you agree?
That's
Like,
crazy. That's
God
crazy.
knows.
Like a block of cheese is somewhere around almost $10. Butter's like $8, and it's like for a kilo. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you'll see how many cows are over there. It's like, hello, New Zealand makes the best steak, cheese, dairy products. So why the bloody hell is it so expensive? Oh yeah, that's because it gets sent overseas, and then it comes back again, and the price is jacked. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, Ludo's just asked, looking to move into FIFO from New Zealand. What's step one? Step one is really knowing what job it is that you want there. But what was your step one there, Rob?
My step one was knowing what I needed to, knowing what job I wanted to go for.
Yeah.
I looked at my skill base and utilized what was beneficial for me to use over here, to be able to get something and that's going to get me a good paying job. So my skill base at the moment mainly is truck driving. I've done logging in New Zealand for 5 years, and I also done interstate work in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and up North Queensland as well. So for me, it was just a no-brainer just to jump in and do trucking job. And once I figured that out, my next step was to jump online, have a look at work, have a look on my friends list that were truck drivers, to see where they were and what they were doing, just getting as much information as possible. Once I had the information and the details, that's when I just pulled the pin and just started making phone calls. Once I started making phone calls, finding out what was working best for me, that's when I jumped on it, got all the information that I needed for that job, and then I went for it 100%.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, like, you were lucky you had mates in the industry. So, like, but it's all about hustling. For people who go, yeah, but you had somebody, blah, blah, blah. Like, it comes down to knowing what job it is that you want, setting yourself up correctly, and going above and beyond what most people do. So most people go, I want a dump truck operator role. I haven't even looked into any other jobs. That's all I want. That's all I can see, instead of researching and going, oh, hang on, what about an MMU job? Like, I could get one of those traineeships, or that job pays me this, or even willing to go into a job like a utility role and then potentially upskill yourself and work out what job is actually right for you. That's a massive one.
What I need to declare though is a lot of people have this mindset that when you go into the mines, you go straight into top dollar straight away. It doesn't work like that. It's like any other job. You start at the bottom and you work your way up. So regardless, if you want to get into your dream job but you can't find it, try find something that's close to it or that can lead you to that position to start off with, and then work your way into it. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to go in there and start off in a brand new job in the industry and be expected to be on a manager's rate. You just can't be like that. It doesn't work like that. It's like every other place.
Yeah. Oh God, we get people who would rather be homeless than who would rather go into cleaning toilets in the mines for $85,000 a year. And it's like, are you serious? Anyway, people are.
It's a job. Got to have gratitude, eh?
Oh my God, yeah. And you know what? Like, that's why, if there's I'm sure there are a lot of people on this live right now who would jump into any job just to get their foot in the door. And that's kind of the attitude that you have to have as well. Yeah. That's what I'd say. Anyway, okay. If you get your Class 5 transferred to MC in Queensland, is there much involved to transfer it then to WA?
No. You can actually run on a different state license. So if you're in Queensland, New South Wales license or Victoria license, you can actually run those in any different state for 3 months before you switch it over. So
Yep.
what I'd do if I was you is go for the Queensland license, start working over here, and then when you've gone 2-3 months into it or whatever, then switch it over. But as long as you're still on the Queensland address, there's nothing that can be done. So you can still pretty much run it on a Queensland license if you wanted to, because you're still under the Queensland address, as long as you're being here less than 3 months at a time.
Perfect. And that's the main thing. Hey, like a lot of people say, oh, how can I get a job from New Zealand? Unfortunately, you need things and you need the address in Australia. Like even to get a white card, you have to have an address in Australia, and approved, and a bank card and stuff like that. So you do have to come over and potentially have a bit of cash saved up, because you might need to stay in accommodation. Like if you've got friends or family, you're winning right there. But you might need to find temporary accommodation, like even a hostel. A lot of people do that just to get themselves set up, then might go back home and start the application process. When they get a job, then they move back over again. So it just really depends. Yeah.
It does depend. Like when I came over here, I spent about $6,000. That was to pay for my tickets to fly over, and that was to deal with what I needed to pay with my licenses, clothing that I needed, places where I was staying. Even though they were family and friends, I still feel that I pay my way wherever I go. You know, you still got to come over here with a little bit of money to help tide you over. 2.5 to 3 grand is just what you're going to spend on one way to come to Australia from New Zealand. You know, so it's just about setting yourself up first, getting all the details that you need, making sure that you have the job before or something sorted. So when you come over to Australia, you get your license, boom, everything's done. You just jump straight into it.
Yeah. And when you were going to come over, like obviously you did have the job to go to, but did you have a plan of like, okay, I need a bank account first, I need a tax file number, which I guess you would have had from when you were working in over east. But did you go, okay, now I need this, this, and this, and have a strategic plan, or you just kind of got over here and went, oh, what do I need next? And then you went with it?
I just jumped straight into it. I knew what I had to do. It's pretty much the same as in New Zealand. When you get a job, you have to have a tax file number or IRD number. When you get your license, you have to have all the right credentials, which is birth certificate or points of ID, and there's the classes as well. So it's just the same as every other place. What you do in New Zealand for your license is the same thing over here. Yep. The only difference is you're transferring your license credentials from New Zealand to Australia, but you still have to have proof of address, proof of ID, and bank details.
Yeah, but I'm sure, like what we do, we work with a lot of candidates who are overseas, and of course candidates in Australia. And there, oh, hang on, sorry, I've got some weird puzzle thing coming up. Okay. All right. Yeah. So there are actually things like, if you're watching and you're from any other country but Australia, there are actually things that you can be doing now if you want to set yourself up so that when you do land in Australia, you have a set plan of going, right, I need to do this first, then I need to do this second. Like you can actually get a tax file number from any country right now. But if you are coming over from any country but New Zealand, to get the visa, you need to be able to show proof that you've got a certain amount of money in your bank account and savings so that you can actually provide for yourself when you do get to Australia. So if you need help with any of that, get in contact with our team. We have our own migration agent who we work with, and he can create a plan for you based upon what visa that you can get, based upon your skills and experience and age and a ton of other factors. Okay, sorry, back to these questions again. All right, Snitty here has asked, what's he asked? All right, okay, I am in New South Wales. I've got my roller ticket and Moxie ticket and white card. What's next? Okay, the thing is that I always say to people, you've got all these tickets. Do you have experience though? That's like one of the number one things. And one of the RTOs that we work with, again, she's always reinforcing this as well, saying you can have every ticket under the sun. It doesn't mean that the employer is just going to go, cool, here you go, jump on a Moxie, jump on a dozer or something like that. So do you have the experience, Snitty? Also, if you're in New South Wales, are you around like within an 80k radius of some of the big mine sites over there, like Muswellbrook, Boggabri, all those places? Because if you are, literally, they are constantly screaming for people. So yeah, if you need help and you're trying to get a job from New South Wales to somewhere like Perth, where I recommend, because that's where all the jobs are, then you might have to consider moving or doing longer rosters, just like what Rob is doing. 17 weeks though, Rob, that's like, oh, I don't know how you do that. Anyway.
Well, it just comes down to the sacrifice and the hunger, really.
Yeah, definitely. No wonder why you're going to be retired in a couple of years. That's all I'll say. Okay, so we've got Shih Tzu here who's asked, I'd love to get a job in the mines as a driller's offsider. That is one of the best entry-level jobs that you can have if you are like pretty fit, because the medical can be quite intense. And you've got an HRB driver's license in Australia, a white card, a police certificate, and a state certificate. Anybody could get one of those jobs, and the pay rates range from 110 upwards. So it depends on your skill set, how quickly you can move through their program as well. If you need help getting one of those, get in contact with us without doubt. All right, let's go back. Sorry, Rob, I'm just trying to look through these questions here.
You're all right.
All right, what else, Rob? Tell us.
Yeah.
Hi, Mac. How you going?
I see Reds has said one here. Is it possible to start with zero experience? Depends what industry you're going for and what job you're going for. Trade assistant, I know you can go through that with minimal experience. As a road train driver, you have to have some sort of driving experience, especially driving a road train. They don't show you how to drive the truck and whatnot. They just show you what rev range you have to be in. You're only in the passenger seat for one day, next day. So you need to be able to keep up with whatever job you're doing, unless they have the training to start off with in that job. If they're prepared to train you and put you through the training, then by all means go for that job. But most jobs really want you to have at least 2 years experience, especially being a road train driver.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? There's so many. It's a lot of people think, I'll just get a ticket, then I'll just get the job. It doesn't happen like that. You need to actually have some sort of relevant experience, just like what Rob's saying here, to get any one of these jobs. The only exception to the rules are the 5 entry-level jobs where anyone can get them. By the way, if you're not following this channel, do it, because I drop a ton of stuff to help make sure that you're going to be able to achieve your goals. Follow Rob as well. We're building up his follower accounts. And Rob, have you started a second TikTok channel for your company or what?
Not yet. I'm just trying to build on the structure of it first and get the foundation of that sorted first before I do that, because I'm not only going to put my company onto it, I'm also going to put our taxi company onto it as well and try to get a bit in there, so just get the structure done and the foundation sorted, and then I'll go from there.
Yep, that's the go. 3369, what questions would you like to know? We can answer everything but migration questions. And if you've just joined us, this is my guest, Rob Savage. We've just done an hour of Rob talking about how he got his road train job, where he's FIFOing from New Zealand to Australia. So there you go. Most of the time I'm like, nah, can't do it, because that's the easiest answer. But there are some exceptions to the rules, which is why I wanted to get Rob on here today. So yeah, look guys, if you're down for any job, get in contact with us, because you've got to know what job it is that you want, what licenses and qualifications you need, companies that are employing. You need to have a resume that's applicant tracking system compliant. Then you've got to go above and beyond what every other candidate's doing, because there's mass competition right now. It's actually an employer's market. So if you're trying to get a job, it's actually gone way harder, because there's so many people on the market right now who are vying for the same job. So yeah, I'm called what? Sorry, I can't even see that. Okay, is there a place to change in Queensland to change New Zealand trade tickets to equivalent? Heather, yes, there are a ton of them. What I'd suggest is, and write this down, in fact, I'll put it in the chat for your question, get in contact with this company. They're called PM Squared, right? Ask for Paul and tell him that I sent you, and Paul or Pam, and these guys here literally won't rip you off. They will help you to swap over tickets. And my biggest hack for anyone, especially if you're in New Zealand, right? Because Australian companies love Kiwis, without a doubt. So yeah, I'll just say that. But yeah, if you actually have experience on like any machinery, like a dozer, a loader, anything like that, so get some footage of you operating that bit of machinery. There are some RTOs that we work with. There's one in Perth, there's one in Queensland. Get in contact with my team and yeah, shoot us a message or whatever. We can tell you what ones they are, because they're not going to dick you around, pardon my French. They're not going to say, oh, yep, you've got the tickets, but sorry, you're going to have to do the whole thing again. If you do have the actual experience, there are a couple of RTOs where they will allow you to get a recognition of prior learning, so you can get the tickets way, way, way cheaper. So yeah, get in contact with us if you need help with that. Or yeah, I think Heather, yeah, definitely go and get in contact with Pam from PM Squared or Paul. So yeah, and say I sent you, obviously. Okay, yeah, anyone needs our help, get in contact with us at info@winwin.com.au. And remember, it's a 1, as you can see from that word behind me. Hopefully you can actually see it. Yeah, and then we can literally, through our career consultation division, facilitate working with you to make sure you're going to achieve whatever goal it is that you're wanting. Rads, get in contact with us, because South Africans, there is a ton of different questions to be asked, like what visa, and yeah, a ton of stuff. So, and you also need to probably have a chat with our migration expert. All right, Rob, can you see any questions here? What's going on?
Yeah, there was one down here I was looking at just before. What is the time frame from interview to doing a first swing? It all depends what time, what dates you've organised with the company themselves. With my company, when I started with them, my time frame in between the interview and doing the medical and coming over here and sorting out everything was 3 weeks. I had everything done in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
But
really yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, sorry. It's a that's kind of like a how long is a piece of string like question, because some companies, they will onboard you straight away. We literally worked with the company a couple of weeks ago. They needed drillers offsiders. I was like, here you go, have a drillers offsider. Bang, they put her through the interview the next day, and then she pretty much immediately like signed her contract and flew out. So it really depends on the company, and a lot of stuff can go wrong in between you doing the interview, because then you need to do the medical. You might need to do inductions. Like the full onboarding process can kind of sometimes take a really long time, and then sometimes be really, really quick. So it just really depends. Okay, heavy operator here from New Zealand. Hey, Cold Mix, how you going? Roughneck experience as well. 55 years, too old? No, without a doubt. It's definitely not. We have worked with guys in their guys and ladies, should I say, in their 60s to get their first job in the mining industry. If you've got experience as an operator, age is not a factor as long as you can pass the pre-employment medical. So yeah, that's what I'll say with that. Rob, what about you? How old were you when you got your first mining job? Or 5?
I only just started 2 years ago, so I was 38. My first ever mining job was when I was in Mount Isa, and I think it was like 32. As a trade assistant, but at the time it wasn't the right time for me mindset-wise, so I didn't last long there. But I learnt the lessons and I come back stronger. As for age, we have in our road trains, we have drivers that are up around about the 65, 68-year-old mark. So age is but a number. If you can handle doing the job and can still perform up to the task as what they want you to, then go for it.
Yeah. Outside and sign a contract with them for 4 years. Sorry, I'm just trying to read this Conwell one. You should find a way to find people, I think, from outside and sign a contract with them for 4 years to paying. Not too sure what that means. Okay, what is your time frame? Oh, sorry, that was the one that you just asked. Any other questions that you can see on here, Rob?
Yep. Adel has asked, for NZ FIFO, are medicals done by your own or own doctor or in AU, Australia, paid for by applicant or employer? So from my personal experience, I was able to do it through my doctor back home because it was the same regulations with the driver assessment from Australia to New Zealand. So it worked out good for me. As for other places, I'm not too sure. You just have to make sure it's applicable with your employer that you're trying to start work with, whether you're able to do that in New Zealand. However, I was able to do that because it was the same safety standard in regards to the medical in Australia to New Zealand. I also paid for it. However, I was reimbursed. So that comes down to the company as well. It just depends what company you work for and what their requirements are in regards to the medical and the payments.
Yep, definitely. The standard is the company will pay for the pre-employment medical, but some companies will do exactly what Rob's company did. You pay for it, and then as long as you're still with the company after a certain time frame, they will actually reimburse you for it. So some companies work it really, really well as well. So you're not taxed on that money that you get reimbursed for, but you can actually use it as a tax deduction. So that can be a bit of a win-win there. So it just depends on the company, but it depends on what sort of role that you're trying to get as well. So JP, is the white card like the red card for mining in South Africa? It's a construction safety induction, the white card. So you might have the red card over there, but when you do come over to Australia, you still need to get the white card anyway. It's a requirement for a lot of companies, especially if you want to work on construction sites, but some don't ask for it. But I just say get it because one, it's a tax deduction. Two, it makes you more of an employable candidate, and it can speed up the onboarding process. So, okay, we've got another one here, Rob. I don't know whether you can answer this. FIFO utility job time frame.
Yeah, I'm a bit stuck on that one. I'm not too sure about that one.
That one there, again, how long is a piece of string, but it depends on whether you're set up, the company that you're going for, whether you have help. We work with candidates in our consultation department and we help to get them in. So, but some companies just drag their feet. You might find some companies you're going through the onboarding process, then they might lose the contract. So there are a ton of different factors involved. So you can't really say it's going to take 2 weeks or it's going to take 10 days. It just really depends. So yeah, 100%. Somehow it will outsource, will source to help you with their onboarding, which slows things down. Yeah, it really just depends there. Some companies do, some companies don't. We don't have any clients that need dogman or franner operators at this moment. Sorry. Do road trainer operators need a white card? Rob, this depends on specific companies. Did you need a white card, Rob?
I don't need a white card for the company that I'm working for. However, other companies may do because it depends on the construction site and where you're going to. The reason why we don't have white cards is because we go into a mine site, so we have to do inductions, and the inductions aren't easy. To do our inductions, it takes about 4 hours just to do all the inductions that we need to sort out. So that sort of negates having to do a white card. A white card is only to a certain extent when it comes to safety, whereas mining companies themselves, they have their own rules and regulations in regards to inductions. So yeah, you don't need a white card where I am at the moment, but other places might do.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are wanting to get a white card as well, there is one place in Australia that is the only place that does Australia-wide white cards, and that is the company that I said before. They're called PM Squared, so PM2. If you do want to get an Australia-wide white card, because you might want to potentially work in Brisbane and then potentially in Western Australia, that's where you want to go to get it. So you don't have to potentially get the second white card. Again, it's a tax deduction, but yeah, I'm just trying to make it easier for you. Okay, wall and floor tiling jobs. In the mines, not necessarily. You would have to go in as something like a trade assistant, or if you, like I said, with you, Edward, you've got a bit of a physical background there. So any jobs where they're quite physical, the best entry-level mining job, which is going to pay you the most amount of money, is a driller's offsider, without a doubt. Hello, Caspers, how are you? Alrighty, where are we up to? Oh, thank you. You have a blessed day too, IBC. Okay.
Yeah, you have a good day, mate. Have a blessed one, eh?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing the live, Tracy. If you haven't already done it, guys, we'd love you to double tap. I've got Rob Savage here. He's a truck driver and he a road train operator, and he does crazy long swings flying from New Zealand to Australia. If you've got any general mining or recruitment questions that you want answered, drop them in the comment section. I'll answer them. If you've got any specific questions for Rob, drop them in the comment section. He can answer them. Other than that, we're going to close this up soon because I'm tired and I need to refill my soda water here. And poor Rob's just come off a night shift. Oh no, a 12-hour shift. So yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say tyre fitter, then best entry level. Tyre fitter is a great entry level job, by the way. Usually I have another guest on. His name's Jamie. He's a tyre fitter. And yeah, tyre fitters can earn a ton of money. So couldn't be a great opportunity to get into the industry and then potentially, yeah, upskill yourself. Okay. PM Squared can do both. They can do online or face-to-face. So yeah, it just depends. I'm Portuguese national living in Ireland. I'm interested as a truck driver job. Okay, IBC, you're gonna need to move, you're gonna need a visa. I can't advise you on what sort of visa that you can get, but I do have a migration agent. There's a link in the Stand store in my bio if you want to go and check that out. Or if you need to have a solid plan, get in contact with my team at info@winwin.com.au and we can help you to get in. Ooh, okay. Is it possible to find an offshore rigging job without experience? Do you have rigging experience? That's what I'll ask. If you've got potentially somebody who can get you in, definitely. But Raj, you're going to need like potentially your BOSI, your STC W95. Those are extremely, extremely expensive qualifications to get. So I would say, yeah, come and have a chat with us. Definitely, that's going to be the best way in. Okay. The bearded philosopher, how you going? Minimum pay in FIFO. Minimum pay is in utility roles where you're looking at about 85,000 to do it like a cleaning or a logistical role. So they are the lowest paid, and then it goes up quite significantly. Rob, what's going on? You're looking.
Oh, just Seth. I think Rob knows changing tires and the heaters of colour. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, if you ever get into road train driving and you have to change your own tires, make sure you have fluids, make sure you always got water, because it's just, the heat gets here. You get to about 45, 50 degree heat here in Port Hedland. So fluids, keep your fluids up, take your time. If it gets too hot, jump in the truck, have the aircon on, cool down and chill out. Give yourself 5 minutes to chill out, get back into it. You know, because at the end of the day, safety is the number one. Health and safety is number one. That's what keeps you alive. So there's been quite a few people that have had heat stroke on the job while doing it, and I've pulled up and told somebody to jump back in their cab and finished off doing the rest of his tyre for him, and why he jumped on his truck and caught up on his fluids and had aircon on him. So safety is a big thing, especially with the heat, because it's easy to get heat stroke.
Well said. Question, how do you deal with idiots on the road? There are a lot of people, like even driving like smaller trucks that I've driven on the roads going up to like the main highway going up to Karratha. There are some people on the roads that are just mind-blowing. How do you deal with that when you're operating a massive road train?
Look, there's a bit of swearing involved, but it's just more of looking at what you can control, because at the end of the day, you can't control what other people do in the driver's seat. You know, all you can do is what you can control. You can warn them, you can jump on the radio, let them know, say, look, this is unsafe, you can't be passing here, da-da-da-da-da. They're either going to make the choice to continue on doing it or pull back behind you. 99% of the times I've had people pull back behind. There's been the odd one or two that have just carried on doing silly stuff, and yeah, you know, they're just lucky that other people weren't coming towards them at the time, because it wouldn't have been a pretty sight. So at the end of the day, I try not to let that affect my positive vibrations, because at the end of the day, if that happens, that ruins my day, makes my day bad. So I'd rather just, it's not that I want to turn my head away from them, but I'd rather focus on myself, because at the end of the day, they ruin my day, then it's over for me. I just start being mad and angry for the day, and it's not good. It's not a good energy for you as a person.
So control what you can. I'm sure at the start of the day when you're meditating, you're putting it out there, the good vibes, that there are going to be no idiots on the road today. Everyone will drive properly.
Yeah, definitely. You always put the intention out to have a good day and to to be on the highest frequency that you can be in regards to having a good day and good mood and all that stuff, positive energy.
Yeah. Okay, Jacques here has just asked, I would like to do a FIFO work in the mines from New Zealand. Is that possible? Let me know if you want to answer this, Rob, or I can.
Sorry, can you read that again? I sort of...
Yeah, I would like to do an electrician job in the mining industry from New Zealand. Is that possible?
I have a mate that's in New South Wales at the moment, sort of doing something similar. I don't know if it is fly in, fly out, but I do know he does fly home. So I'm not too sure whether he's paying for the flights himself, but he's definitely, I think he's here for like 4 weeks at a time or 3 weeks at a time, and then he'll go home for 2 weeks, you know, so anything is possible. He's an electrician. He's also he's got a business running back home, but he wanted to come over here and start contracts over here. So I don't know too indefinite about what's going on with him, but I do know that he does fly home.
Yeah, there are definitely sparkies that fly from New Zealand that I know of anyway, to Australia. So it just depends. You might have to look into doing the longer rosters or trying to get an even time roster, maybe in Queensland, because it's cheaper to fly back home. But yeah, it just really depends. So yeah, get in contact with our team if you need help with that. And okay, Jamal has asked, I'm in PNG. How can I migrate to Australia to get my tickets and job search out there? We actually do migration and mining webinars. If you would like to come along to one of those, myself and one of my migration agent, we basically walk you through what you need. But my first point of contact for you would be to have a chat with him, because what visa that you can get is going to depend on your skill set, how old you are, a couple of factors. I can't answer that. So yeah, sorry for that vague answer, but yeah. Okay. Oil rigs, yep, you definitely can. Drillers offsider with no experience. Most drillers offsiders who get the job don't have any experience. That's the whole point. It's an entry-level job. So if you meet the criteria of an HR driver's license, white card, police certificate, first aid certificate, there's no reason why you can't get a job. You need help with that, contact us. We'll help to get you in. In fact, if anyone's a Kiwi who meets that criteria, send us your resume and address it to me, because we have a client who's looking for drillers offsiders right now, and I'll just say they love Aussies and Kiwis. So you need to have an HR driver's license, a white card, a first aid, and a police certificate from Australia. If you have that, then let me know, because he's even just taken on a guy who is working in New Zealand and flying over to Australia and backwards and forwards for a drillers offsider role. So yeah, get in contact with us. Rob, do you want to
There you go, people. Get in contact for that sort of work. I've just had a look at Seth. He's pointed out buy a rattle gun. Definite buy a rattle gun if you're going to do road train driving. That should be your first buy. As soon as you get your first or second pay, buy a rattle gun, because there's nothing like doing it in the heat by hand with just normal tools. It takes forever. And you knock down 3/4 of the time using a rattle gun than you would doing it by hand.
There you go. And it's a tax deduction. Well done. Okay, so if you're a mechanical fitter from PNG, mechanical fitters like HT fitters, auto sparkies, electricians, and construction workers are so needed in this country right now. There's a ton of stuff going on. So the government's actually pushing visas through. So yeah, go up and into my stand store and book in with my migration agent. Okay, hello from South Africa. I'd like to know what's the process for a chef position. If you have your chef qualifications, you do need to do the whatever test to get it swapped over to Australian standards. So yeah, same for you. Go up into my stand store and have a chat with my migration agent. He can facilitate getting your skill sets assessed, and also chefs are highly sought after over here. Okay, 10 years experience in the construction industry, final cut excavation on 13-tonner. RJ, get in contact with us, because yeah, you could do final trim. They are screaming for final trim operators over here. Are you in New Zealand or Australia? That's the question. Carry electrolytes. Seth is spot on with that one. Hey, Seth. Hey,
yeah. Well, I see Seth's actually working down in Onslow as a road train driver, so he pretty knows word for word what I know as well.
Oh, there you go. And we've got Noel has asked, Rob, can you walk us through a pre-start on checking over your road train from the front to the back? Do you
Tell
know?
about Noel. Yeah, we work together at the same company.
Go on then. Show us your skills.
Pretty much with the pre-start, we have to
Oh no! We should get Noel
check
on.
for all damages. We have to check over all the fluids like oil, water. Have a look at the chassis rail. Have a look at any leakages. Anything to do with roadworthy. If it's fit to drive, if the motor's good to drive.
Yep.
Have to check over our tyres because the tyres are the wear and tear on those are pretty quick. So we have to make sure that they're fit for the road. And we also check over our bins to make sure that the hydraulics aren't leaking and to make sure all that stuff is fine. We also look at the ring feeders, make sure all those connections are tight, everything's sorted through all that. Pretty much it's just double checking everything before we leave the yard, as well as cleaning our windows, making sure we have clear line of sight, making sure we wipe down our lights on our truck for vision as well. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick version, a quick layout of what we do for pre-start.
Yeah, well done, Noel. And you've got to come and do a live with me too one day, or we could do with all of us on. Okay, so we've got a question here. Do you work with Victor Harrison? There we go.
Yep, Victor Harrison. He's one of the boys. He drives Gemmo JT48.
Awesome. Well, there you go. All right. Thanks for jumping on, guys. If you haven't already done it, make sure that you're following Rob, follow myself, and follow Noel as well if you can see him in the comments.
Yeah, Noel's another person to follow. He's got some good content on there about our job, and he's also a bit of a shiny bloke. He likes to keep his vehicles very shiny. So
I've just invited him on. So all right, everybody, when Noel comes on, make sure that you all follow him as well. He's got some really good content on TikTok, but mainly importantly, follow me, follow Rob. Okay, cool. Don't worry about Noel if he does jump on. He's probably like, what? I'm like driving right now, piss off. But no, he's probably not if he's like on TikTok. I hope your boss isn't watching. Okay, question regarding FIFO jobs. Are there jobs available for people who don't hold a driver's license? If your brother-in-law is a superintendent, yes, but generally no. The driver's license is pretty much what every single employer is asking for, even for like a utility role, because you might have to drive the utilities around the utes, should I say. All right, guys, we've just done an hour and a half. I'm sure Rob wants to go to sleep.
Yep, it's time for me to get some shut-eye.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for joining our live today. If you haven't already done it, follow us both. Follow Noel wherever the hell he's gone to. And
thank you for all the questions, and hopefully I answered what I could and to help you guys out, and good luck for the future and what you guys have planned.
Yeah, and just drop in the comment. I'll stay on for a couple of minutes. Drop in the comments if you want me to get Rob and Noel back on again. But yeah, hey, Jamie, there's Jamie as well. We've got our tyre fitter on now. Okay, I've worked mechanics. What kind of jobs are available over there? Oscar, they're a mechanic role, so that could be a perfect way in. You might have to do a skills test. But yeah, it's definitely, they scream.
Is that heavy diesel mechanic?
Don't know. Yeah, if you're an HD mechanic, mate, you can literally walk into a $90 an hour job. 32 years old, no experience from the United States. Should I go for a new start? Yes. I can guarantee if you're in the US right now or Canada or any other country, Australia is basically like the haven of, apart from Chinese warships like circling the country at the moment or last week, Australia is the place where you can come over here, walk into a job that's going to pay you over 100K plus. For a job where you don't need much experience, licenses or qualifications. So if you need help with that, get in contact with us. There is a way for you to do it. If you're in New Zealand, you're extremely lucky because you don't need to go through the visa process and all that. But yeah, basically if you're overseas, you do need the visa and you need to get tested on what visa that you can get and a ton of other stuff as well. So for most jobs, Damon, you do need to be in Australia. Yeah, but Rob here is in New Zealand, and so like what I'm going to do with this as well, guys, is I'll repost all of this in the Win-Win YouTube channel if you want to watch it again and hear Rob's story and hear your own questions answered, and you're all going to be famous on the YouTube channel. If you don't mind, because we'll be able to see your comments. So make sure you're subscribing to that. I better go because my videos are going to move.
I'm going to take off. Just follow me if you need to ask any questions, but just not today because I'm going to sleep soon. So I'll try to get back to you whenever I can. If you send me a message. But yeah, just give me a follow. There's a bit of content on there now, and it goes into a bit of depth of what I actually do. So yeah, if you need any more questions asked, just ask.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks for joining the live. Thanks for my moderators. Get in contact with us at info@winwin.com.au. If you haven't done it, follow Rob, follow myself. Thanks very much, Rob. Awesome chatting with you.
Yeah, definitely. You have a good day, eh?
You too. See you guys.
Yeah. Bye.